What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me today for the launch of my newest series, Let's Play Hardcore RuneScape 3. RuneScape 3 is my absolute favorite version of the game, and I've never played on a hardcore Iron Man account before where the stakes are so high, and so I'm super excited to get started and to see how far along we can progress and what we can accomplish with this account. I'm going to get started by logging in for the first time to a brand new account that I made just for this series. And we'll take a look at the character creation screen. This is my first time logging in. And so it'll be interesting to see how RuneScape 3 introduces the game to a new player. Okay, so we have this design your hero interface, which is pretty cool. I haven't done this in forever, and it looks like we have an advanced mode option to the top left of our interface. I'm going to go ahead and select Hardcore Iron Man mode, and we'll see what kind of disclaimers we receive for this. This message says, Hardcore mode status is lost upon death. If you die, you will revert to a regular Iron Man, and only a high score will remain of your Hardcore status. Do you want to continue? Yes. We strongly advise you activate the RuneScape Authenticator to protect your account from malicious activity. We will be doing that shortly. You cannot trade, use the Grand Exchange, or get any help from other players in Hardcore Iron Man mode. Are you sure you want to play this way? Yes, I am absolutely sure. Perfect, alright, so we're now set up to create a Hardcore Iron Man character. So I'm going to go through this Design Your Hero interface and see what I can come up with. These hairstyles are so crazy. They're so very, very different from when I first started playing RuneScape. It's actually pretty cool, all of the different technical achievements that RuneScape was able to provide over time. So my my RS3 main account uses this assassin gear that's supposed to be representative of the thieving skill, and I think it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with our character heading into the beginning of the game. He looks awesome, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the done button, and now will come the most challenging part, which is coming up with a name that has something to do with Westbrook or Westbrook Gaming that isn't taken in 2020. There's virtually no chance that this name is available, but we're going to try it anyway. This name is already taken. Okay, that's what I assumed. I'm going to try adding my birth year on to the end of the name and see if that works for us. Yes, so Westbrook 95, that name was available, so that is going to be our name for our Hardcore Iron Man account, which is great. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, so I've never seen this before. So what is your experience with RuneScape? I've never played before. I've played very recently. I've played, but not in a while. I've played very recently. I am active on my main RuneScape 3 account. Alright, so here I am in the game. Welcome to RuneScape. If you'd like some suggestions for what to do next, you can choose a path from the activity tracker. Wow, so here we are in Burthorpe, it looks like. Yeah, we are here in Burthorpe. Wow, this looks so great. The first thing that I want to do is change this interface. So while I love RuneScape 3, I really don't like the new interface. I mean, it's really cool, it's very useful, but I really enjoy the old interface. So in case you didn't already know, I'm going to show you how to change that. So I'm going to hit escape and go into my settings, and in settings, if you go all the way down to the legacy tab, there's this legacy interface mode that I'm going to select and switch, and now I have the original RuneScape, well, as close as you can get in RuneScape 3 to the old school RuneScape interface. We have all of our typical tabs at the bottom that I'm familiar with, and we have the familiar chat bar to the bottom left of the screen with our new action and skilling ability bars that I will minimize for now. And let's take a look at our gaming window. It says, welcome to RuneScape, thank you for validating your email. You've been given the skilling backpack override. That's kind of cool. And yeah, so this is just... We've unlocked a bunch of new music tracks just for stepping into Burthorpe for the first time, but this is sick. Something else that I just noticed is that our name at the bottom left has the title Hardcore Iron Man pre-pinned to it, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool designator of our status in the game. So let's take a look at what we've started the game with. I'm really happy that it seems that we've started the game with just minimal resources to work with. It looks like we have a yak track. The Yak to the Shadows event is currently ongoing as I'm filming this video. So I have our yak track that I'll take a look at. That's pretty cool. With a couple of skip tokens. We have some shrimps just to get started with. We have some food to eat. It looks like that's a level 1 food. It has been literally forever since I've had such a fledgling account in RuneScape 3. And so I'm going to have to take the changes made to Constitution into account more seriously throughout all of the levels of this character. Let's take a look at my gear. It looks like, yeah, so I have a bronze dagger. This is great. Okay, so I just dive into the game with a bronze dagger and with some shrimps in my backpack, and no tutorial, which I'm assuming is because I selected the option that I have recently played the game before, which I think is pretty cool that they don't force you to go through the tutorial if you've already played. It would have been kind of fun, I guess, to see the tutorial just to show it on the series, but I'm pretty happy with the minimalist start to this account. So I just made a few changes for the sake of recording. The first change I made was I modified the interface capture area so that hopefully you guys can now see the edges of my screen properly. I believe they were being cut off in earlier clips. The second change, I turned off the audio, the music more specifically, just so that when we cut from scene to scene, the music doesn't skip along with the transitions. And then I turned off the cursor capture option so that the broken looking cursor wasn't hanging out on the screen, and you can see where I'm clicking anyway. The RuneScape interface is pretty cool. It's good about showing you what I'm hovering on or what I'm clicking on. So yeah, hopefully those changes will make this a little more enjoyable of an experience for you guys. And the next step I'm going to take is to upgrade our account to a members account so we can more fully enjoy the entire game of RuneScape. I now have membership and have logged into a member's world. We have our interface set up properly. We have a fresh account with minimal equipment and fresh skills. Everything is at level 1 except for Constitution. Our total skill level is 37 and our combat level is 3. We are now ready to get started playing the game. First, I want to show you guys some of the cosmetic overrides that we have unlocked by default on a new Hardcore Iron Man account. So, as you can see here, we have this set of Hardcore Iron Man armor that we can equip as an override, which is kind of cool. But as we saw in the chat earlier, we also have this backslot skilling backpack that looks really cool, and it kind of reminds me of Luke in The Empire Strikes Back when he's training with Yoda. It makes us kind of look like we're a noob that's training and getting better, which is exactly what we are. So I think I'm going to stick with this. And my very first goal for this account is going to be to raise all skills to level 10 or higher so that we can wear the 10 milestone cape and replace our beloved skilling backpack. So in choosing which skills to level first, I think it's important to keep in mind that this is a hardcore Iron Man account, meaning that this character has only one life. And so with that kind of gameplay comes an inherent set of risks that I think would be wise to mitigate as early as possible with this account. So with that being said, I feel like a good game plan for getting started would be to start working on the mining and smithing skills and maybe the crafting skill to start creating melee range and magic armor for our character, and then to move into the combat skills, maybe work on Slayer, get some Slayer tasks, and start raising our combat quickly so that our character can be a little more formidable in the dangerous world of Gielinor than he is right now. Now our new character is kicking off his life in the city of Burthorpe, which I just wanted to show for context on the world map where Burthorpe is. So if you've played RuneScape before, you're probably familiar with Lumbridge and Varrock in the Kingdom of Misthalin. This is kind of like the original classic area of the game. A few years ago, I want to say 5 to 6 years ago maybe, this area of Burthorpe and Taverley was kind of redesigned to be the new noob zone of the game. I believe every skill is represented in these two cities in some way, with some kind of like introductory tutor with a tutorial on how the skill works, and there should be low-level training activities in just about every single skill in this area. So this is where we're going to be starting the game. If I turn on all of the legend icons, you can see there is a lot going on in Taverley and Burthorpe, and so it's a perfect place for us to get started, especially with the early goal of getting all skills to level 10. We may be able to do most of that right here in Burthorpe and Taverley. As you can see to the south of my current position, there is a mine and an anvil and furnace, all in a nice little introductory area to the mining and smithing skills. So we are going to get started by heading in that direction. So if I head to the south away from the Burthorpe lodestone where we spawned and started the game, I will see this cool little beginner skilling area where we can get started with mining, smithing, and crafting, which is everything that we will need to get started with making basic armor for our character in all three combat styles, melee, ranged, and magic. We have a cave in the back that'll have some low-level ores. We have a smithing area so that we can smelt and hammer those ores into weapons and armor. Over here to the south, we have a pen of cows, some low-level cows that we can collect hides from them. We can tan them and create leather ranged armor from that. And then we even have, even further to the south, this little farm of flax that we can use with the spinning wheels here to start crafting armor for mage, for the mage combat style. So this is really the perfect little spot to get started. But to even get started with skilling, we're going to need a certain set of tools, which in older versions of the game you would have to go to places like a general store to purchase an initial set of tools to get started with skilling. But in RuneScape 3 you actually have something called the tool belt on your person, which is like an extra set of inventory slots to hold your gear, and it's very possible that we might just start the game with a set of beginning tools. So I'm going to go look at the Worn Equipment interface and select the tool belt button. And as you can see here, we actually do have a full set of beginner tools to get started with skilling. Right now what we're going to need is the pickaxe to start mining low-level ores. We're going to need the hammer for smithing melee weapons and armor, and then we're going to need a needle to get started with leather working and working with cloth. So perfect, we have everything we need to get started with skilling. So if I take a quick look at my skilling interface and select the smithing skill, you'll see that we are immediately able to smelt bronze bars and to smith bronze armor. If I look at the mining skill, we can immediately mine tin and copper ore, which are the two ores that are smelted together to make bronze bars. If I look at the attack skill, which determines what kind of weapons that our character can use, as far as melee weapons go, we are immediately able to wield bronze weaponry. And then if I look at my defense skill, that allows us to wear specific armors. You'll see that at level 1 we are already able to equip bronze armor. So as far as the melee combat style is concerned, bronze is the first metal that you get to play with. So our first goal will be to mine tin and copper ore and to smelt bronze bars and to smith our first set of full bronze armor and a set of bronze weapons. Alright, so I'm going to head for the very first time on this account into the Burthorpe Mine. And it's so funny. Mining is actually my favorite skill in the game. I have always loved mining. I was in a coalition of miners back in the day before the Grand Exchange was a thing. And it's just so funny to see that I have 0 XP in mining currently. Well, my main, I think I'm close to hitting 101 mining right now. But it's so funny. So our total XP is 1154, which should, yes, it's all coming from Constitution. So we have 0 XP and all of these other skills, and that is just hilarious to me. But taking a look at this mine, this actually looks really cool. The Burthorpe Mine is really nice looking. You have copper rocks, tin rocks. Let's go ahead and take a lap. Over here we have this room that has more copper some clay. We got an achievement, go somewhere using the minimap. That's hilarious. I can't believe that is the first time that I've clicked on the minimap since I started recording with this character. That's so funny. But we actually have clay down here, which can be used for crafting in pottery. Let's see if there's anything else of value. More copper and tin. Ooh, look at this cool little gap that we get to walk across. Copper and tin, copper, tin, and clay. Yeah, so this just looks like a big room full of deposits of tin, copper, and clay specifically, which is awesome. That's exactly what we need. And in the front of the cave, we also have this Tobias Bronze Arms character that looks like the mining tutor. Let's hear what he has to say.
Burthorpe needs weapons, and we miners provide the ore used to make them. You want to help out?
Tell me about mining.
Mining is the source of all the metal in the world. Without mining, there'd be no tools, no weapons, no industry at all. Get your pick and swing it at some rocks. The more you swing, the better you'll get. The better you are at mining, the better the ore you can mine. Better ores are more useful and much more valuable.
So I'm going to get started by mining half inventories of tin and copper so that we can get started with smelting and smithing bronze bars and armor. But if you're used to how mining and smithing works in classic or old school RuneScape, you'll see quickly that mining and smithing in RuneScape 3 is a very different process. There was actually a huge mining and smithing rework a couple of years ago that I'm really a big fan of. So essentially, as you're mining at a rock, your pickaxe deals damage, and that damage fills up this progress bar, and each time the bar fills up, you earn 1 ore. I actually just hit level 4 mining after my very first inventory of tin and copper, and it looks like we have a higher critical swing chance against copper and tin rocks now. We get 5% better critical swings, and we have the chance to gather 2 rocks at one time from copper and tin ore deposits, so that's pretty cool. I also didn't even realize that daily challenges were a thing for Iron Man accounts, but if I scroll back in my chat log, you can see that we had a challenge called Basic Mining where we needed to mine 3 ore that we already completed, which is pretty cool. So in RuneScape 3, every day you get something called a daily challenge, which is a skilling or combat task that if you do the challenge, you get better rewards than if you just did the skilling alone, which is pretty cool. I can actually take a look at my challenges by hitting escape, going to the adventures menu, and selecting challenges. It looks like we have a series of 5 daily challenges already, which is hilarious because this is day 1 of this account's existence, but we finished the basic mining challenge, and I can claim the rewards. We'll do that in a minute after we smith these bars. But some other challenges I have: basic combat. This wants me to kill 5 cows. My basic prayer challenge wants me to bury 5 bones that we can do while we after we kill the cows. Fishing wants me to catch shrimp or crayfish, and then woodcutting wants me to chop trees to receive normal logs. So we should pretty quickly be able to burn through all of these daily challenges and hopefully get some decent rewards for them. I'm going to head back outside with our inventory full of tin and copper, and we're going to interact with this furnace over here to the side. And if you look at the menu, we have this new reworked mining and smithing menu, which is pretty cool. We can actually just deposit the ores into this furnace like it is a bank. So we can deposit and withdraw from the metal bank, which is like a kind of a cool new concept. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin a project to smelt 14 bronze bars out of the tin and copper ore that we have collected, and we'll see what kind of smithing XP we can get from this. So these bars are smelting at 1 XP per bar, which is appropriate, I would say. And so next I'm going to click on the anvil, and from here you can see that we have the option to select what kind of armor or weapon that we would like to smith. And I think I'm going to get started by smithing a set of armor. So we have the mid-helm that has a 30 armor rating, and we have the full helm that also has a 30 armor rating. I guess I will go ahead and smith the bronze full helm first. So when you start smithing a new item in the new smithing rework, You pay for the item with the bars that it requires, and then you get this unfinished smithing item in your inventory. And what you have to do is you click on this heat forge to the side, and it'll fill up this heat bar. What's actually happening is you are heating up this item, and the temperature that you can heat the item to is determined partially by your smithing level. And so then you take the item and you hammer it on the anvil, and as you hammer the item you get smithing XP, which is cool, but you also have your the temperature goes down as you're working the item, and then there's a progress bar just like in the mining rework, and once that progress bar finishes you receive the item. As you can see at the bottom it says you finished smithing bronze full helm, so easy enough. Right now, while we're only smithing bronze weapons and armor, the progress bar for creating an item will move along pretty quickly, but as you get into the higher levels and as you start to work with more complex materials, you'll find that the amount of time it takes to craft an item significantly increases. Another thing I want to point out is on the right side of the smithing interface, above the value area, you see this. There's this base button that shows you that bronze equipment can only be smithed at a base level, which means that once I smith this bronze full helm or this set of bronze plate legs, they are as good statistically as they will ever be. However, higher tier metals will allow you to not only equip the base version of equipment, but +1 versions, +2, and so on, that will take in the inferior version of the item, and with more bars and more time and energy, you will upgrade the item to an improved version, which kind of gives another layer of complexity to smithing in the reworked smithing mechanics. Alright, so I've just finished smithing a full set of bronze armor, as you can see in my backpack, and I'm about to equip it for you for the first time. However, I first want to take a look at what our base stats are with no armor equipped. I'm actually going to take off the dagger so that we have nothing, and I just want to take a look at what kind of stats our base character has with no armor equipped, with our just basic every combat skill at 1 status. To do so, I'm going to hit escape and go to the hero tab and look at the loadout. So as you can see here, we have nothing equipped. This interface is really cool. It'll allow us to equip and de-equip items and see how that impacts our stats as a player. And so it looks like just the default character has a total armor of 45. So it looks like my armor is 1 to start the game, and then my skill bonus, I'm assuming that comes from probably my defense skill, is 44. So this is how we start the game. And if I look at the bronze armor that we have, the boots and the gauntlets both provide 7 armor each. So as I equip those, you see the total armor going up. The helmet provides 30 armor, the plate body provides 34, and the plate legs provide 33. So after equipping a full set of bronze armor, our total armor raises up to 156, which is awesome. That is a significant improvement to 45. It's more than 3 times as effective as not wearing any armor at all. However, notice down below the style bonus. So when we're fighting a melee opponent, or when we're taking in melee damage, we have no bonus to that. However, if we take in range damage, we get a +15 armor bonus, and if we take in magic damage, we actually lose 16 armor. We have a 16-point subtraction to our armor if we're taking in magic damage. And this is the first representation I can show you of the combat triangle, where the 3 combat styles are essentially a big game of rock, paper, scissors, where melee beats range, range beats magic, and magic beats melee. So that's always something to keep in mind when you're playing the game and when you're choosing what armor to wear, that the different combat styles affect each other in different ways. So it's just something that is always important to think about, and that is why we will want to craft 1 set of each combat style's armor to start the game. So I also want to take note of the offensive stats of our base player and see how the bronze dagger changes that. So it looks like our starting damage is 2, coming from a skill bonus of 2 provided by our strength stat, and our base accuracy is 44, once again all provided by a skill bonus coming from our attack stat for the melee combat style. Now what's interesting is that our bronze dagger has a damage of 48, so what I would assume is that the resulting damage would be the 2 from our skill bonus plus the 48 from the bronze dagger. But if I equip this bronze dagger, our damage actually only goes up to 40. And as you can see here, the weapon is actually only contributing 38 damage, and the skill bonus is providing 2. So I'm not sure why the damage here says 48, but it only contributes 38, but as soon as I figure that out, I will let you guys know. Our accuracy also significantly increases to 194 when we equip the bronze dagger from 44, and it looks like we're getting an accuracy bonus of 150 from the weapon, and that is all 150 that is listed on the weapon itself. So that's interesting. Our damage type goes from crushing to stabbing, which makes sense because it's a dagger, and our speed is still the fastest speed. Look at our character in all of his noobish bronze glory. That just looks sick. Well guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Today we started things a little slowly, spending quite a bit of time getting prepped for gameplay. However, in the end we were able to raise our mining and smithing skills to levels 4 and 3 respectively, and most importantly we were able to smith a full set of glorious bronze armor. In the next episode we will carry on with the task of creating basic armors in each combat style and weapons as well, and we will continue on our journey to raising all skills to level 10 or higher. I'll see you guys in the next episode.